I'm Veronica Swiatek, and welcome to Ybor Flavors, a monthly show featuring Ybor City, which is Tampa's National Historic Landmark District. And it's wine time tonight in Ybor City. We are going to go into the Ybor City Wine Bar, where they feature over 200 wines by the glass and 80 craft beers. Not only do they have all of these wines and beers, they have wine tastings, and they also can certify you for your sommelier license. So we're going to go talk to Jamie and see everything that's going on. I have been so excited today. I have been waiting all night to come here to the wine bar in Ybor City, and I am with the proprietor, Jamie Kosar, and she is going to tell us all about the fabulous wines that she has here and about the revolution that she started in Ybor City. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
I am so excited.
Me too.
So we're going to talk about where you came from,
Okay.
why you love Ybor.
Okay.
You do these wine tastings, you have this wine school, you're sommelier. I don't even know where to start. Oh, wait a second. And then you started a charity fundraiser.
Exactly. How about we start at the beginning?
Is there a beginning?
For the wine bar, there is.
Okay. Sounds great.
We opened the Ybor City Wine Bar December 22nd, 2012. We've been here going on 2 years. I opened it with a single vision. I come from Miami. I used to own a restaurant in Miami for 27 years.
Is this where the decor comes from, the
Yes.
Miami chic? I love it.
Exactly right. Perfect. Miami chic. We're very hip and trendy. We feature over 200 wines by the glass, even more by the bottle. That's a pretty extensive wine selection. We also
Where do you keep it? Like underground?
Amazing, isn't it? And in a small space. We do. We have it hidden all over. And then we offer about 75 or 80 craft beer selections as well. Little known fact about the wine bar.
Where are the beers?
Here, and again, hidden. And then we also have, we offer wine accoutrements, small plates, things that pair well with wine. Cheese boards, fruit platters, hummus, gourmet desserts. So
how'd you pick Ybor coming from Miami?
I love Ybor. I was coming here often on the weekends to visit friends, and I fell in love. So I bought a home, one of the historic homes in Ybor.
Oh, really? Where do you... Actually, I'm not going to ask you where you live. I know everybody will be stalking you. Not me, but...
Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's one of those over 100-year-old homes. Ybor has a lot of flavor and character and history that I love. So that was part of the premise for moving here. And then the wine bar was a passion of mine.
Okay, so Ybor City, you love to visit. I'm sure you love to eat, and you have this passion.
Right, and I'm very involved in the community.
You are involved in the community. But before we get to that, I want to know, how did you pick your place?
The location was great. I thought Centro was a perfect, right in the heart. It's considered the heart of Ybor City, Ybor Centro. We're surrounded by some wonderful upscale restaurants, comedy club, movie theater. So I thought that this would be the perfect location for me.
Let's talk about a little bit of the logistics. You are a wine sommelier. Did I pronounce that right?
Sommelier, sommelier, sommelier. It's all correct.
Okay, potato.
Pretty much, exactly right.
And actually, I think that's interesting because you actually started this because you don't want wines to be pretentious. So you don't want it to be snobby, not snobby, which I think is so incredible.
We pride ourselves on being hip and trendy in Ybor. I do more of an esoteric flavor with my wine selections, very boutique-y, wines that you're not going to find anywhere else. Although we do have the classics, of course, and some high-end bottles as well, but I like to have fun with it. We have 200 wines by the glass. That's what we're known for. That's more of a hip and trendy, chic approach to wine. 200
bottles. Who does your wine list?
I do.
You do?
I do.
And how long does that take you?
Oh, it takes quite some time. It's a major project.
Do you have to drink just an ounce, a glass, several glasses?
I taste every single wine personally before it goes on the list.
And how often do you change that menu?
Very often, actually. What we do is we have 200 that are stationary, and then we change our rotationals. So depending on the season, holidays, festivities, we can change the wine list very often.
How do you pick them?
Oh, that's the fun part. Absolutely. A lot of tasting. I look for things that stand out, things that are unique and different. I also look for hip and trending regions, up and coming. We have a section on the menu called Rising Stars for up and coming wines that I select for that particular component of the menu. We have a section called Fun and Fabulous, Hip and Trendy. My first section is called The Flavor of Ybor, where we showcase, of course, how to pay respect to Ybor. Wines from Spain and Italy and the foundation that Ybor was made from, or came from, our roots. So from the flavor of Ybor to rising stars, we have every price point in between, and it's done very boutique.
So that's a really good point when you talk about price point. Is I know myself, if you go into a restaurant or you really don't know, I know some wines, but if it's not on your menu, like how do I go ahead and pick out a wine without being embarrassed about, is it this budget, is it that budget?
Excellent question. Oftentimes the sommelier can help guide you with your wine selection. When you're out and about, I would say that's the first resource. Plus, it also depends if you're on about having dinner, food pairings, what's going to pair well with that meal. And also price points, certainly you want to look for value, and it's okay to ask for value wines. Our price points here, we have wines from $5 a glass to $15, so I've encompassed all the price points, so I could fit any guest into any market.
So I can go, I can challenge a sommelier and say, I want this wine, but I want it between this budget and
Absolutely.
This budget.
And a good som should be able to accommodate that request, for sure.
That is awesome. So tell me about the wine flight and how do you go through it?
Okay. Wine flights generally are a series of 5 wines. We start off with the champagne-style bubbler sparkler, 2 white wines followed by 2 red wines. Traditional flight always goes from the lightest weight wines to the heavier weight wines, and again from light to dark, white to red.
And what about regions? Are there any specific regions that you like to use?
Absolutely. We trend all over at the Ybor City Wine Bar, again with 200 choices. That's quite a bit. The wine flight that I've selected for us this evening, we're starting in France and we're ending in Bordeaux, France, but we are taking a trip to New Zealand, Germany, and then Russian River, California in the United States. So I kind of put together something very eclectic.
I feel really special. You put together a special wine flight. Is this the $30 wine flight or the $100 wine flight?
All the wine flights at Ybor City Wine Bar are reasonably priced at $15 a flight. It's a wonderful sampler.
Oh, that is awesome. That's my type of wine flight.
Absolutely. Reasonably priced, and we do it at the Wine Society every Wednesday at 7. So we start with the wine flight, but the wine flights are always available tableside 7 days a week, whenever we're open.
Well, let's get started with some bubbly.
Absolutely. This particular bubble is from France, the Loire Valley, and the primary grape of Loire is Chenin Blanc. So this is J.P. Chenin from the Loire Valley in France. Cheers.
Cheers.
Crisp, aromatic, red apple. You also get some lees and yeast and toast, which is what you should get in bubbles.
How do you learn to pick all that out?
Train the palate. Practice.
Which means
practice. Drinking a lot of wine.
I guess I have a lot of homework to do tonight.
Well, we also run the Ybor City Wine School on Saturdays. On Saturdays, we run the Ybor City Wine School. We're certified through the Society of Wine Educators, and we offer the Certified Specialist of Wine study program.
So how many weeks or days
It is 4 weeks from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And can anybody be taught if I come in? Can I receive my certificate?
Actually, what this is basically a study program. You still have to sit for the exam. You have up until 1 year to sit.
Oh, so this is actually formal and impressive that I could go ahead and impress all my friends with it.
Absolutely. It's an internationally recognized certification program.
Okay, this information is getting overwhelming.
Okay, so
I'm very interested, so I'm going to ask you about that later.
Okay.
So
to the next wine.
So we just go ahead and sip it? Okay.
Yep. Next wine.
Thank you.
I picked something hip and trendy. Right now, the region of New Zealand, or the country of New Zealand, the region of Marlborough is trending very hot for Sauvignon Blancs. So, cheers.
Cheers.
If you notice the nose, we have lemon, lime, citrus, grapefruit. Should be very refreshing, crisp.
It is, especially in the summer heat in Florida.
A little bit good acid, nicely balanced. Fruit forward because it's a New World wine.
This is really, really nice. Write this down for me because I'll drink it later.
You like this one? Okay, good. Put this on the list. Perfect.
And then going on to the third wine, it's progressive, you said?
Exactly. So this one's Old World. We're in Germany now. And this is the typical grape of Germany called a Riesling, and it's from the Mosel region. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here you should be getting hints of green apple. And again, it's Old World, so you're getting more minerality from an Old World wine, more earth forward. First one was more fruit forward, here we're more earth forward.
I don't know the terminology, but it is.
You're learning.
Very full.
Yes,
it's more full-bodied than this one.
A little bit more complex.
I like it. Complex. Okay, let's go on to the next.
Trending hot right now in the Russian River region of California, Pinot Noir. And this is the Masterpiece collection. All the bottles have a different piece of artwork on them. So that's a new collection to the wine bar.
Actually, I know about Pinot Noir from the movie Sideways. Everybody does.
There you go, exactly. Nice hints of cherry, strawberry, red fruits.
That is really
Delicious.
yummy.
Very, very nice. And we're going to end where we started, in the great region of Bordeaux, Old World, France. This is a typical Bordeaux. She's Merlot heavy, so she's from the right bank.
Before we proceed, she versus he.
All my wines
Tell
are
me.
She, absolutely. That's kind of a nuance for me. I refer to all my wines that way.
Do you have names for her?
She is the Chateau Grand Renom.
I'll have to remember her.
Yes, for sure. She's worth it. Okay.
Oh, they're so yummy. How do you choose?
I get inspired.
All right, I'm going to ask you a really, really hard question.
Okay.
What is your favorite wine?
That's easy. I'm an old school Italian girl because I did Italian wines for 27 years. We have a bottle in here called Cesare Mora. She's a Valpolicella Ripasso. So she's Corvina, Rondinella, Molinara. Those are the three grapes of a good Valpolicella. She's made through the Ripasso technique. It's old world Italy in the glass. It's my favorite wine.
Do you have ravioli to go along with it?
Pair it with absolutely anything Italian would work well. She also pairs well nicely with another glass.
I think I could spend the entire night here, but I also noticed that the place is full. And
We're going to be starting our wine society shortly.
Okay, so I think we're going to have to say goodbye, but can I stay for the wine society?
Absolutely, please do.
Real quick, what is the wine society?
Wine Society, we meet here every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And we showcase wine flight, plus bonus wines, complimentary food pairings. Sometimes we have a winemaker, a wine rep, a different theme every week.
All right, if you want to learn about wine,
7 p.m. on Wednesdays, Ybor City Wine Bar.
there you got it. We had such a great time at Ybor City Wine Bar that we had to go out and find where you can buy wine. We are here with Jim Cerna. Hi, Jim. Come on over here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Very good.
So tell me about your place here.
Well, we're kind of a unique place for Tampa. We specialize only in the sale of European wines, so France, Italy, and Spain, old world wines. And we're really a little bit more than a retail store. We kind of have four businesses here. We have our wine retail store. We have our wine storage facility, where we store other people's wines. We have the Tampa Wine Institute, which is a wine school for ongoing wine education. And then we also have Bones Wine Bar, which we use for corporate, private events, and all our tastings and dinners.
So you really are a hidden gem, and most people wouldn't realize that you're here. Where are you located? Where can we find you?
We're actually right on the corner of Palm Avenue and 22nd Street in Ybor City. We have our own parking lot behind the store. There are 3-foot letters on my building. I hope you can find it.
Okay, so I walk in, and this room is filled with wine. Tell me what this room is.
Well, the first room, the way the store is set up, is that the first room is kind of the bargain room. We have all these boxes here filled with wine, if you'll see, that are about $5 a bottle.
Wait, $5 a bottle? Is the wine good?
Well, actually, it's $5.99 a bottle. I'm lying. But if you buy a case, it's $5 a bottle, and it's only $60 for a case of wine. Good wine. These are wines that we source ourselves and kind of leave out the middleman and get great deals on. And the way the store is set up is this first room is the grab-and-go room. There's nothing in here that's really much over $10, so you can kind of just fish around, pick out what you like, and it's pretty easy. Plus, we have people here to help you select wines if you're not used to buying stuff that's not in your language. It's not really that hard.
So when I come in here and maybe I'm not familiar with the French wines and maybe I'm a little shy on saying that I want a $5, well, I don't think I've known or ever bought a $5 bottle of wine. How do I go ahead and say, you know what, I want something that's full-bodied, but in this price range without being embarrassed?
Oh, well, all you have to do is ask anybody when you walk into this store. There's very few people that I've had a long-time staff here, and actually now it's just me and somebody else. So when you walk in, you will actually get somebody who knows what they're talking about. And there's no snobs here. Wine is not about snobbery. Wine is about enjoyment.
Okay, so now that we're in the bargain room, is that what you call it?
Yeah, the bargain room, yeah.
Okay, so say I want to graduate now. Where do we go?
Oh, well, we can go one more room back over here. And
All right, let's go on tour. We are now in room 2, and this is beautiful. And look at that art. Did you do that?
No, I didn't do it. Actually, my wife did. I'll give her a plug. Pompeii painter. She's very talented, and she did all the decorations in the building as we walked through. This room is kind of maybe the $20 to $30 room. And this is kind of where you will find more of the gross that come from Europe that more people would know about. For example, the wall that we're facing or looking at right now is the Bordeaux wall. We have, which would be our Cabernet Sauvignon section for those who are used to buying California wine. We have an entire wall of Italian wines over here. Standing right over here behind us, we have the Rhone Valley, which are the oldest vineyards in France. We've got white Bordeaux and the Loire Valley, which represents Sauvignon Blanc, for those who don't know what the grape variety is. Behind us is Burgundy, which is where all the best Chardonnay in the world comes from, and Pinot Noir. And then we have, of course, Champagne and port wines, and then the south of France, Germany and Alsace, for other wines that we offer.
So I come in, and what do you ask me first?
Well, I always ask people what they like to drink, and I ask them for what they would normally drink. And then from there, I can kind of extrapolate where I can go with them.
So I'm coming in here and I'm saying, well, I like red and I like a little bit lighter, but something that has more of a fruit flavor. How do you know that I want French wine or I want German wine?
Well, I know what you want is good wine, because that's what everybody wants, is good wine. And so if you'll notice when you walked into the room here, when you go into a wine store, most wine stores have these enormous bargain bins filled with all the wines that they shouldn't have bought. We don't have one of those because we don't buy wine that we don't like. So it's pretty simple. Now, not everybody likes every wine, and there will be wines that you don't like, but regardless of that, what everybody really wants is good wine. So from your description, I would probably either give you a Pinot Noir from Burgundy, or maybe from the south of France if you wanted to spend a little less. Or I would give you a Rhone wine, like a Côte de Rhone or something, a blend of Grenache and Syrah, which would meet all the characteristics you just described.
So I see that you're on Chateau Neuf Pape. How do you pronounce that?
Chateau Neuf de Pape. It's very simple. It means the castle of the Pope, and it's actually one of the most fascinating things about European wines is the long history. If you think about Napa Valley, which has about a 200-year history, Chateau Neuf de Pape, actually the first pope that was elected to the papal throne, who was a non-Italian.
Did you know him?
No, I didn't know him. I'm not that old. But the first non-Italian pope, who was actually a French pope, Pope Pius, was on his way up to take the throne in Italy, and the Italians really weren't too thrilled about having a French pope for the first time. So he decided to stay in Châteauneuf, and they formed the summer castle for the pope. And they were one of the first people to plant vines down there under the name Chateau Neuf de Pape. Of course, the Romans had planted vines here over 2,000 years ago. Again, these are some of the oldest vineyards in France and in the world.
Not only am I learning about wine, I am getting a history lesson. I think we should test them one more time. What do we have? Vaccaras?
Okay, well, Vaccaras is very interesting because what you have, most people love Côte de Rhone. I call Côte de Rhone French Chianti. And Côte de Rhone is a blend of all the Rhone grapes that are in Chateau Neuf de Pape. In fact, Côte de Rhone is just very inexpensive Chateau Neuf de Pape, the same grape varieties. Vaccaras and the one next to it, Gigondas, actually, were both originally rated as just Côte de Rhones. But in France, what you must do to be able to name your wine after the village where it comes from is go through a 10-year process where you must produce wines that are of Côte d'Aron or better than Côte d'Aron quality. And there is aging in barrel and age of vines. But again, for the buyer, this is what you need to know, is that the Châteauneuf de Pape is the most expensive of the blends, so to speak, from the southern Rhone Valley.
Okay, that's the one I like. Of course, it's most expensive.
We all like the most expensive wines, and we like to drink the most expensive wines when they're somebody else's, which is my specialty. But Vaccaras, Gigondas, and these Côte d'Arons over here are all blends of the same grape varieties that go into Châteauneuf de Pape, the main ones being Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvèdre. But from lesser parts of the Rhone Valley, and obviously you can see we have a $9.99 Côte d'Aron, which is quite delicious, all the way up to, I have Châteauneufs that go up to well over $200 a bottle.
So now that we are in a progression of all of the rooms, I want to know who puts the wines together. This is beautiful. Every single label is at exactly the same angle. Is that you? Is that what you do all day?
It is me, but it was, of course, my mother.
Your mother?
Yes, my mother was very neat. And when you do what I do here, when you have thousands and thousands of bottles of wine, you have to be really, really attentive to them and count them and make sure you know where they all are, like your children.
How many bottles do you have here?
Well, including the wine storage, we probably have close to 250,000 bottles.
I don't know where Jim brought me, but I think I need a parka. And you know what? Over the door it said old and rare. Where did you bring me?
Well, I brought you into our back room, which is the other part of the retail business, where we really dedicate 5,000 square foot refrigerated warehouse to the collection and storage of very, very fine, highly collectible wines.
So being without my parka, how cold is it in here?
It's about 50 degrees. Probably in the center, it's in the mid 40s. But yeah, I keep it between 48 and 50 degrees here all year long.
Why is that?
That is the perfect temperature to store wine at. Aside from selling wine, we also store wine here professionally for our clients and for customers. And natural cellars require about 60 to 70% humidity rate and anywhere between 45 to 60 degree temperature.
Before I leave, I'm going to have Jim go ahead and pick me out 2 boxes of $5.99 wine, and I want you to show me where you're going to store it in here.
I will, and they are all, actually, all those wines are stored in here.
Oh, they are?
You know why?
No.
Because every wine deserves to be kept in 60 degrees. So the wines that are out in front that are $5.95 are stored back here right next to the $5,000 bottles of first growth Bordeaux's and crazy Burgundies.
Jim really is a gentleman of fine wine. So I want to go ahead and let's talk about a very special bottle of wine. Do you have one?
Well, it's special in the sense of the artist who did the label.
And it's this one?
Yeah, it's a nice 6 liter of a 1970 Mouton Rothschild.
6 liters?
6 liters, yes, called an Imperial.
Okay, Imperial. And how
Imperial.
many people can drink this?
2 if you're lucky.
I guess we're going to have to try it
But
later.
say it's an Imperial. An Imperial is about 6 bottles of wine.
Okay.
Okay, maybe a little more, but it's about 6 bottles of wine. So figure it's about a half a case in one bottle.
Wow.
Okay. This particular bottle was from 1970. Mouton, which is a first growth in Bordeaux, and actually wasn't in 1970. It didn't become a first growth until 1973. And actually in 1973, a very famous artist did the label called Picasso, who I'm sure you know. But prior to that, in 1970, we have this one right here, which was done by Chagall.
So this is actually an artist drawing?
It's actually done by Chagall, and he was hired by Baron Mouton Rothschild to do the label, that particular piece of art, for that vintage of Mouton. And every year, Mouton has a famous artist do their label. I have a few here. I have Andy Warhol from 1975.
Let's see that bottle.
Right here.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
So every year he had a famous, in fact, many great artists have graced Mouton labels, and it's also kind of given many artists their start. So it's a great collectible item. for the art alone.
Now, this is the big deal. We are where people actually store their personal bottles in this 50-degree room, and I can't believe the number of cases here. And Jim's going to talk about the largest bottle of wine that he has. It's hidden. Jim, tell me about it.
Well, in all fairness, it's actually not my bottle, just in case this customer is looking and thinking that I stole his wine.
Whose is it? No,
well,
never mind. Don't tell me.
That's right. I would have to kill you if I told you. But he actually bought this for his daughter's birth year. And so he's hoping to, open it when she becomes of age, either 21 or 18. And so we're storing it here for him along with some of his other wines.
So how old is she right now?
Well, she's 7. Let's do the math there. I don't know. She's about 9. Right?
Wow.
No,
now that's
she's 8. I'm sorry. She's 8.
That's a birthday present to
That's
have when you're 21.
My dad actually saved some wine for me, which he was supposed to give me when I turned 21, but he deemed me unworthy, and I didn't get the wine till I was 36.
Wow, that's a long time to become worthy.
Yes.
So what is your favorite part of wine? I know what mine is.
Well, of course, drinking wine.
Well, why don't we go drink some wine?
That sounds great.
We explored all the delicious wines, and the best part, right?
Well, the best part now is we get to drink some wine.
What are we drinking?
Well, we're actually, I probably shouldn't have opened this as kind of wine infanticide, but it's a delicious Barolo from Paolo Scalvino, who's one of the best Barolo producers in Italy. This is his 2010 vintage. It was just released. And again, we shouldn't be drinking it, but why not?
I'm telling you, history lesson all over again. So tell me, you're swirling. I know you don't have to swirl, you swirl. What does it mean?
Well, we're just trying to get some air in the wine. I mean, Italian wines are notoriously take a long time to breathe and open up, especially a young Barolo like this, which really we should be drinking in about 20 years when it'll be at its peak.
I say the same thing about the Italians. It takes a while.
Wow.
Okay. Are you Italian?
Yes.
Oh.
Worse, I'm Sicilian.
All I want to know is you're in Ybor City. Are you a member of the Italian Club?
I actually was just offered membership today.
Well, we're going to go ahead and have a new member of the Italian Club.
That's right.
All right, so how do we toast?
Skål. Slanta. Nostrovia. Oh, chinny chin. I'm sorry. Cindane.
Here we go. Let's taste some wine. That is very yummy. What else do you do here?
Well, in the room we're sitting in right now is Bones Wine Bar. And we use Bones for several purposes. We have the Tampa Wine Institute, which is Florida's only wine school.
Never heard of it. The Wine Institute?
Yes, we've been doing classes here for, we've been open for 15 years, and we've been doing classes here for 15 years. They're usually small classes, about 20 people. We serve 6 to 8 different wines, usually accompanied by some cheese and charcuterie.
Yummy.
I conduct all the classes. I used to teach in Manhattan at several of the jobs that I used to work at Morel & Company and the Burgundy Wine Company. So wine education is very, very important to us.
My birthday's next week. Can I go ahead and book my own private party?
Sure, we can take you to school.
We are going back to school.
Going back to school. And then we also use Bones for the wine bar for corporate and private events. So anybody that wants to come in and do their own little private party here. This is a beautiful 100-year-old building located in historic Ybor. We're not really in the middle of Ybor on 7th Avenue. If you get off on Route 4, we're 2 left turns coming right down here. And again, we have our own parking lot, so it's very easy to get here. Or you can access us from South Tampa right on Palm Avenue, straight from downtown from Florida.
I'm coming here. I want to buy some bottles of wine. Can I come any day?
You can come, we're open Monday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
We have now discovered West Palm wines, and you need to come down here and taste it for yourself. Ybor City, flavor to suit any taste.
La donna è mobile, qual più malvengo, muto d'accento e di pensiero, sempre una amabile, leggiadro viso, in pianto riso e lenzo